Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk Scranton Prep Track and Field. Nick Solfanelli joining us. He is the District 2 champion in the Javelin, also plays quarterback on the football team. Well, Nick, a successful season for you. You culminated at the District Championships with a win, but there's still one more meet to go at Shippensburg University. Tell us about your season in the Jav.
Yeah, so the season's been great so far. It started off a little slow. Didn't really hit the big PR until about 3 weeks into the season. And then from there, just went upwards, hit 190, then big PR with 203, 207 at the Stagnos, and then kind of had some bad conditions at districts through 193, but, hoping to, get back in the 200s for states and come home with a medal.
Nick, talk about the technique with the Javelin, how much different it is, and just kind of whizzing a football as far as you could. How much work have you put into it, and talk about the coaching that you've taken?
Yeah, last year it was just kind of a go into it and, throw as hard as you can. And I did pretty well with it last year. And then over the summer, over the winter, sorry, I've been getting training with my coach, Barry Karamis, down near Tamaqua, and I've been going down to his camp over the winter time and just training, doing a lot of technical aspect with the Javelin. It's not, a lot of people think, Javelin, you just whip it as far as you can with your arm, but it's a lot of like full body motion, a lot with your legs, a lot with your core. So it's a full body thing. It's not just your arm, and it takes a very long time to get the technique down. So it took a while, but thankfully the work's been paying off, and I'm just grateful that it's been paying off.
Now, could you talk about that technique and mastering that? And there's a lot of mechanics that kind of go into it. How much film, or do you just kind of watch your coach? What are the things that you've done to kind of make sure the technique part you've kind of tried to master the best of your ability to make sure that you're staying injury-free?
Yeah, so what we do usually is we go through a bunch of technical work, and then after practice or during practice, we get a couple throws in, and usually my coaches film me. And, it's really easy to visually see, your mistakes and, where to improve. So film definitely helps a lot when you're throwing the Javelin. And a lot of times, I'll just have some downtime and I'll look on YouTube and I'll look at, some of the greats like some foreign guys like Jan Zalesny and Taro Pikamaki. And they've just really perfected the art. And you just try to kind of emulate them and, pick out things that you want to implement in your throws, what you think might do well, and you ask your coach and say, is this something that I can implement in my throw to give me that extra couple feet? And if he says yes, then you keep working at it and kind of find your own special technique that you can go forward with.
Nick Solfanelli, a junior at Scranton Prep here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Locations in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Kingston, Hazleton, and Williamsport. Well, Nick, I'm sure not many people will say, hey, my dream is to throw the Javelin one day when they grow up as a little kid. But here you are, you're a great football player at Scranton Prep, but as you get a little bit older, you're mentioning guys that are in Europe and throwing over there. So it sounds like you're really getting into the Javelin.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a blessing so far. It's just been incredible, the progress that I've gone through with the help of so many people. It started off as, just kind of like an accident. When I was in my freshman year, I was skiing and I got stitches in my one finger, so I couldn't try out for the baseball team. And my mom convinced me, you got nothing else to do over the spring, so why don't you just try out for track? And ever since then, it's been taking off, and I'm hoping to, reach my full potential with the Javelin and, see where that takes me.
Nick, when you talk about your future plans, you are a junior, you got a bright future ahead of you. Any ideas on what you want to do at the next level when you go to college as far as what you want to study? And will football or track and field be one of those things that you'd like to try as well?
Yeah, I'm kind of up for anything at this point. People are always telling me I have plenty of time, to think of a major, and I'm just kind of starting to nail down things that I'd like to really get into. And as far as college, I'd really love to throw the Javelin in college. It's a passion of mine. Football is a passion of mine too, but I just feel that Javelin will kind of take me to the next level, and hopefully keep perfecting my art, and hopefully get somewhere, land somewhere that'll let me throw the Javelin.
Nick, I've been at track and field states for many years at Shippensburg University. I've seen throws all over the place when it comes to the javelin. You see him in the 170s. You go to the 190s. You see guys come in records at 220. It's one of those events. It seems like it's all over the place, and sometimes it's a 15-meter difference at times. How do you go in with the right mindset? And you mentioned the conditions at districts were a little challenging this year. You threw a 207. The confidence has to be high with that. But where do you take that mentality when you're going to head to Shippensburg University and knowing what you have done this year and what you want to do, what the vision is?
Yeah, well, the big thing is when you're heading down to states, especially as a javelin thrower or any kind of field thrower who throws it far, like a discus thrower, you're always looking. I'm always checking daily the weather reports down at Shippensburg and making sure everything's right. Last year the conditions weren't too good. I went down last year as a sophomore, and the conditions weren't like they weren't really up to par, and a lot of kids didn't really throw too well. So there's a lot of factors that go and that are involved with throwing the javelin. And I mean, you could have a kid who throws in the 210s, 220s, but if he's having one bad aspect of his technical in his throw, it could just set him down, and you could be throwing 180s, 190s, nowhere near his PR. So it's all about consistency with the javelin. You're always trying to be consistent with it, and some days aren't your days, but you're always hoping, doing the right things, eating the right food, getting the right amount of sleep, training properly. You hope that'll get you that consistency, and hopefully win those big meets like the one down at Shippensburg.
Well, many, many years ago at Shippensburg University, they had the javelin going one direction. For the last, I'd say, 10 years, it seems to me that it's a slight uphill, and that could psych some people out as well. So you definitely have to be mentally tough when you head to Shippensburg University. Nick, you sound like you got that going for you. We wish you well this weekend at Shippensburg and, of course, in your future endeavors.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm hopefully, hopefully I'll do well down there, as well as my teammates, and my teammates are heading down there. So, I just wish best of luck to, everybody in District 2 and everybody down at States. Thank you.
A humble Nick Solfanelli, a junior at Scranton Prep, here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.